After realizing that her time spent in Themyscira was all an illusion and that none of it was real in the 2016 New 52 comic series Wonder Woman, Diana has a psychotic break. She has lost what appears to be years in this illusion. Her mind just snaps, and she goes into an almost catatonic state. As such, Steve Trevor decides he must continue on without Diana and has her committed at Nightingale Hospital. Unfortunately, he seems to forget to mention that she is Wonder Woman. Call it forgetfulness, protecting her secret identity, or just straight up weird cruelty from Steve. Regardless, this seems to be a huge mistake. An interesting thing that Wonder Woman's psychotic break allows us to explore is how awful misdiagnosis can be when it comes to a mental illness. During her stay at the mental institution, instead of being treated for her PTSD regarding the revelation she experienced, she's instead treated for her delusion that she is Wonder Woman. Which is more harmful than helpful because she actually is Wonder Woman. Don't worry though, she ends up actually coming to when Ferdinand the Minotaur comes to see her, and she just ends up checking herself out. Unfortunately, there are no consequences for those who mistreated Diana in the comics, so that's pretty terrible. I think in terms of mental illness, Wonder Woman would simply encourage you to listen to those who suffer and come to you, rather than judge them. We have to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, after all. Number 9. Punisher. Frank Castle is more of an anti-hero than superhero, and he isn't powered, but if it wasn't for his trauma, he actually probably wouldn't be a hero at all. After the death of his family that resulted from a wrong place, wrong time scenario, Castle does everything in his power to avenge the ones he's lost. He somehow managed to survive the event, but none of the other members of his family did. Too bad Thanos wasn't the one who wiped out his family. If that had happened, Mentor might have been able to try and help him out at least, like with Drax and Moondragon. Beyond just avenging his dead family, the Punisher also seeks vengeance for others as well. Violent and brutal vengeance. He does his best to protect innocents while punishing those he deems guilty. While many criticize the depiction of the Punisher, calling it a glorification of violence, there's really more going on. Where Punisher can cause idolization of brutal violence and capital punishment, he also stands to serve as a reminder for what it is like to come home from violence and war, and what that can do to someone's psyche. How does one adjust when violence is all you've known for such a long time? How do people feel when they come back from the war? This is real world stuff, guys. Soldiers having severe PTSD. Number 8. Rorschach. When many people think of mental illness, they think of Rorschach from Watchmen. I get it. Dude is covered in ink blots and gets his name from the Rorschach test, which is used to help diagnose patients through analyzing their perception of what they see within ink blot images. This test can also be used to help break down a person's thought process and potentially diagnose thought disorders. In Rorschach's case, the mask was just what he decided to create, though it does seem to symbolize a mental instability for his character. Walter Kovacs was abused by his mother as a child, and this combined with his psychotic break upon discovering the murdered corpse of Blair Roche and way in which her body was desecrated, chopped up and fed to the murderer's dogs, Rorschach most likely suffers from paranoid personality disorder embodied in the way he views the world as being mostly immoral and his suspiciousness of others. Number 7. Daredevil. In the comments for part 1, a lot of you were saying that comics and fiction are often wildly inaccurate when it comes to depicting mental illness and treatment. And while I would sometimes agree with that statement, it's not always the case. If you want to read a comic that articulates relatively accurately what it's like to suffer from a mental illness, look to Matt Murdock's struggle with depression. In Daredevil Volume 5 Issue 10, the first few pages allow Matt to beautifully describe what it is like to feel depressed. As someone who has struggled with depression anyways, I know I personally agree with it. Daredevil articulates that he has always struggled with depression, but is usually pretty good at dealing with it. He often does not let it overwhelm him. However, after his emotions are manipulated by the Purple Man's children, he is left paralyzed from his depression. His depression is so severe in this issue that he can't even follow the Purple Man's commands. It's so powerful it allows him to refuse Kilgrave's influence. That's some next level depression. Number 6. The Comedian. Edward Blake is a reckless man, one who shows little regard for other people, and one who does not even seem to feel affected by other people. He kills mercilessly, killing a woman point blank for attacking him after he got her pregnant. He seems to feel no remorse when it comes to the way he treats people. He catches Silk Spectre changing after a photo shoot with his fellow Minuteman and tries to rape her, only to be stopped by Hooded Justice. He doesn't even apologize, he simply threatens the Hooded Justice for attacking him and stopping him. Ultimately, the Comedian displays sociopathic tendencies, which is very scary in a superhero, to have such blatant disregard for others. He's on The Boys level of potentially being a really bad superhero. Number 5. Jessica Jones. The trauma of Jessica Jones is astounding and also quite well explored in her Netflix show. Jessica suffers from PTSD after being kidnapped by Kilgrave and manipulated by him. She's a survivor of rape and was a victim of abuse. Not only does her show deal with those issues, it also deals with the fear and reluctance to leave that people often feel when they're being abused or being held captive. She makes Hope repeat over and over again in season 1 that it is not her fault. Often victims of assault feel as though they must somehow be to blame. Part of this is due to guilt, and part of this problem stems from desperately wanting to have some kind of control over or find a rationale behind what happened to you. Number 4. Crazy Jane. Jane Morris is actually Kay Chalice, who at one point was Miranda. She in fact has over 30 different personalities, who each have their own unique powers. Kay Chalice was a victim of assault. She was sexually abused by her father when she was just a little girl, and as such eventually withdrew into another personality, Miranda. After she was a victim of rape while in her Miranda persona, this triggered a psychotic break. Not unsurprisingly, which led to even more personalities and her being institutionalized. Jane suffers from a dissociative identity disorder, which was also suffered by Moon Knight, Legion, Sentry, and potentially Batman from the part 1 of this video that I did. And obviously there are also many other superheroes that often suffer from DID. Number 3. Hulk and Bruce Banner. These two both have their issues. Hulk obviously deals with anger issues and, in fact, is a good symbolic representation of what it can feel like for those who struggle with anger, while Bruce has his own issues. When you fly into a rage, it can often feel like you are becoming a monster, or rather that you were a monster. The interesting thing about the Hulk and Bruce is that while Banner may often wrestle with feeling like the Hulk makes him a monster, often the Hulk does not express those same feelings. The Hulk actually sometimes seems to feel that Bruce is weak, so both view the other side of themselves as being the problematic side. In Bruce's case, similar to Ben Grimm, he also struggles with feeling as though he is too much of a monster for the world. This was beautifully shown in the film adaptation of The Avengers, where in Age of Ultron, we actually see Bruce himself, not the Illuminati, banishing the Hulk from Earth. And his feelings towards himself in regards to his hatred of his monster-like form have often made Bruce Banner borderline suicidal. Number 2. Jessica Cruz. Another pretty accurate representation of mental illness can be found within DC's story of Jessica Cruz, a Green Lantern who finds herself plagued with debilitating anxiety. And I mean debilitating. Jessica suffers from severe anxiety, which results in her struggling to perform superhero duties due to feeling a lack of self-worth. Like that time she struggled to fight the Red Lanterns because she just felt she wasn't good enough. She also suffers from chest pains, palpitations, and panic attacks. The best thing about her character is not even that the comics show Jessica struggling with her illness, but working hard to repair and maintain her mental health. She uses breathing exercises, she tries to establish a routine to keep her mind away from negative thinking, exercising regularly, and cleaning with her sister. These are real-world solutions to anxiety problems, and real techniques that even I have used to try and fight my own anxiety. The way this mental illness is discussed in the comics is just great, and it's so relatable. Also, Jessica seems to overcome her anxiety and perform great feats, which just makes the reader feel if Jessica can do it, then maybe they can too. Number 1. Deadpool. Wade Wilson suffers from many illnesses. He seems to show signs of possible amnesia as well. He can never seem to get his origin story to quite stick, and has even expressed that he thought he knew it, but then he found out that he was wrong about it. Making me wonder if his memories were tampered with, or if maybe his head has just been blown off a few too many times? Deadpool has also shown signs of schizophrenia, substance abuse, hallucinations, and PTSD. We may not know how rough his childhood was, unlike his pal Wolverine, who had maybe the worst childhood in comic book history, but we know his adult life certainly has not been easy, making it unsurprising that Deadpool is so erratic and often delusional. Number 10. Bloodshot. Coming to us from Valiant Comics, Bloodshot was a man who underwent experimentation which turned him into a super soldier and weapon due to nanobots that were put into his bloodstream. This procedure also caused him to suffer from amnesia. As such, Bloodshot often spends his time working hard to retrieve his true identity from Project Rising Spirit, who also turned him into the weapon he is. He has memories of many different lives which it is later revealed were embedded in him by PRS, in an attempt to control him and bend him to their will, helping to give him motivation for the many successful missions that they sent him on. Number 9. The Thing. While Daredevil is also known from suffering from this mental illness, when it comes to depression, my mind always goes to The Thing first. Someone who has struggled with his monstrous appearance more than anyone I can think of in Marvel, including the Hulk. While Ben Grimm may be fully in control of himself and his wits while in his rock form, he can truly never leave it. Many also ponder on his name, The Thing. Seems like such an insulting name. It's rude that we call him that. But did you know that this was the name Grimm actually gave himself, cursing his form and questioning why he had to become this thing? That was his initial reaction, and from there, the name just stuck. He consistently expresses suicidal thoughts and frequently goes into bouts of depression. Part of the reason why he enjoys fighting so much is because it allows him to escape these thoughts, and is when he feels the most useful. Number 8. Batman. While this has been debated and never outright confirmed by DC, a lot of Batman's writers like to explore the idea of Batman's potential insanity. It could easily be argued that he suffers from dissociative identity disorder. He has been shown to have multiple personalities, from billionaire Bruce Wayne to the Batman to his alias Matches Malone. He even made an alternate backup persona in case everything ever went sideways. Granted, you could just attribute this to Batman being prepared, but if it's something Batman prepares for, it means that he believes it can happen. Beyond this, he has also worn different batsuits with different personalities, like when he fully became Zur-En-Arrh. He also exhibits some obsessive-compulsive behavior and anxiety when it comes to all of his contingency plans and his strictness in regards to expectations and rules. He at one point insisted he needed to wear a different colored suit every night, having one for each color of the rainbow. So there's also that. Kind of obsessed Batman. Number 7. Legion. Another sometimes hero who suffers from dissociative identity disorder, for sure this time, is Legion. I know he's often more villain than hero, but honestly, I don't think this is much of a choice for Legion. He has exhibited his capacity for heroics before. I personally believe a lot of the reason why he is villainous simply stems from his mental illness. It's probably hard to keep everything straight when you have so many personas living within you. Usually when David manages to regain control of his mind, he tends to work more towards heroic goals, at one point even believing he was meant to help his father, Professor X, achieve his dream of bringing mutants and humans together in harmony. Legion frequently reverts back to his evil ways, unfortunately, when he absorbs others' psyches and personas. At one point, he had hundreds of personas residing within him, which admittedly would be a lot to wrestle with. Number 6. Zatanna Zatara. Zatanna struggles with addiction to magic. Granted, this one is a little more lighthearted in terms of the other members on this list. Zatanna is like She-Hulk and many other superheroes. She is addicted to power, more specifically her own magical powers. And I wanted to lighten up the list a bit by including a mental illness that was more rooted in fiction and less so in the real world. Though many people struggle with addiction in the real world, none of, I think, are addicted to magic. That is to say, real supernatural magic, because, you know, it simply doesn't exist. Sorry to everyone who is waiting for a Hogwarts letter. It's not coming. Zatanna's addiction, while it exists in a very fictional world though, does go to show that one can be addicted to just about anything, even the things that we think make us stronger or better or more valuable. In fact, if you find something that makes you feel that way, you have a very good chance of becoming addicted to it, because hey, it makes you feel good. So you might want more of it and to do or have whatever it is that makes you feel that way all the time. Zatanna gets counseling help in regards to her addiction in her own Seven Soldiers 4-issue series, confessing that she is a spellaholic. Number 5. Iron Man. Going back to real world issues, Iron Man's story has explored a real world addiction that many experience, an addiction to alcohol. Iron Man is shown struggling with his addiction throughout the comics and is not alone in the struggle. Flash Thompson, one of Peter Parker's friends and later Agent Venom, also struggles with alcoholism. Demon in a Bottle is a particularly good story arc to follow if you want to tap into Stark's struggles with his addiction. Oddly enough, the actor who played Tony Stark in the MCU, Robert Downey Jr., also has struggled with addiction, which makes his portrayal of the character feel that much more grounded and real, though the films have sort of glazed over some of his addiction and struggles. I think Iron Man dealt with it in maybe like one movie. We still got a really good sense of just how high the stakes can get though when it comes to wrestling with this mental illness. Addiction is scary. In the super world, it'll actually make you fight your best friend while you're both wearing Iron Man armor. Apparently. Number 4. Hank Pym. Hank is an erratic hero to say the least, and his behavior has gotten him blacklisted time and time again by many readers and superheroes, despite the fact that he is known for being one of the most brilliant minds in the Marvel-verse. He slapped his wife Janet Van Dyne so hard across the face that she fell backwards from the hit. As such, he was kicked off the Avengers team and Janet began the proceedings towards divorcing him. He also kind of kidnapped her and made her marry him, though Janet was willing at the time since she felt like she'd been waiting for Hank forever. forever, who often did not express an interest in marriage. This go-between of these dramatic mood swings, really wanting to get married, not wanting to get married at all, would later cause Hank to self-diagnose himself as bipolar. Really wanting to get married, not wanting to get married at all, being violent, being calm and non-violent, just an example. While I'm not looking to exonerate him by putting him on the list, I would like to acknowledge that when dealing with mental illness, one of the first steps you can take towards getting better is admitting you have a problem. Beyond this, many have speculated that Hank may also suffer from dissociative identity disorder, as many other heroes do. As a result of the drastically different hero personas he seems to have gone between throughout the years. And I'm not just talking about his time as Yellow Jacket, there's a lot more. Number 3. Scarlet Witch. The famous events of House of M were literally caused by this hero's mental illness. Scarlet Witch has suffered from a few psychotic breaks in the comics, which has made some other heroes reluctant when it comes to working with this former mutant, and reluctant to trust her. Scarlet Witch is next level powerful with her chaos magic reality altering abilities, which makes her struggles with mental illness far more terrifying. House of M happened because Scarlet Witch decided to alter reality to grant what she wished, but after it was shattered by other heroes eventually realizing that it wasn't real and coming after Scarlet Witch to make her stop, altering reality, she had a breakdown. Breaking her illusion meant losing her children, which granted they weren't real, but were something Wanda desperately wanted. This ended up leading to the death of Quicksilver later on, which caused Wanda to have another psychotic break, freak out, and wish for no more mutants. Hence, House of M. Number 2. Moon Knight. Now that Moon Knight is getting his own series, everyone is talking about him and all the trauma he lives with. Mark Spector was traumatized from a young age after finding out a family friend, who was also a trusted rabbi, was actually a Nazi serial killer. Yeah. From there he also served in the military and later as a mercenary, seeing all kinds of violent things. He ended up being granted powers from the Egyptian god Khonshu, who saved his life in exchange for his servitude. But in Moon Knight's comics, not even the reader really knows what's real. That's how complex his issues are. They translate right into the writing. Mark definitely suffers from dissociative identity disorder, but beyond that, he is also sometimes depicted as suffering from hallucinations. There's one story arc that leaves the reader questioning as to whether or not Khonshu is even real, and throughout his comics we aren't even sure if he has powers or not. Mark has a few personas that he goes between, one of the most famous being Jake Lockley, who he even fully lived as for a time. But he also often adopts the personas of his superhero friends, sometimes even masquerading as them. He one time impersonated Spider-Man to the length that other people actually believed he was Peter Parker. When Spidey found out, he asked Mark to stop it. Please. Just stop it. Number 1. Sentry. The split personality to end all split personalities. Robert Reynolds was a junkie who was looking for his next hit when he stumbled across his powers while ransacking a laboratory late one night. This hero has a slew of mental illnesses, from addiction to split personality to agoraphobia, the fear of any place that might cause you anxiety or stress. His agoraphobia almost prevents him from completing his duties as a hero, as he struggles to even leave his home as a result of it. He has been shown being addicted to both alcohol and heroin, and his split personality often pits him against himself, as his other persona is the Void, one of the world's greatest supervillains. Sentry cannot exist without the Void, and vice versa. So while Robert is capable of doing much good, he is also equally capable of doing many terrible things as well. Robert has got to be one of the most troubled heroes, which is what makes his comics so relatable. He really struggles, and as powerful as he is, he still has so much to overcome, making the level of powers he has also terrifying to contemplate. Someone so damaged wielding so much power makes him a very dangerous hero indeed.